My name is Charlie McGrath. I'm the founder of WideAwakeNews.com and a host on the Rinse Radio Network. I urge everybody to mentally prepare for this game to come to a grinding halt. And I'm talking about this continuation of pretending that things are going to turn the corner with the next election. We don't have a system of representative government. We don't vote for the people that are the best to turn us back toward a constitutional republic. If you believe that we deserve what we get because we do the voting, you need to understand that we don't get to vote on anybody that truly will make a difference, truly will look to the Constitution as a guideline, as a foundation point of building a nation. We get to vote for whoever is backed by the largest corporate special interest and whoever can garner the most support from said interest. This is who's put before us to vote for. And when you have a system that completely allows this kind of takeover of both parties, because it's only a two-party system, you can't win. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you go and vote for Mitt Romney or if you vote for Barack Obama. I know that sounds really negative and it sounds counterintuitive, but it's time to realize that the Republic is lost. It's gone. We're not going to vote for the best man. We're going to vote for the best funded. Period. Today at a meeting with, or at a speech at the Virginia Military Institute, Mitt Romney harkened back to the days of Ronald Reagan when he called out for peace through strength doctrine. He threw Obama under the bus because of Obama's so-called efforts to reach out to the Muslim world and reach out to Russia to hit the reset button. Now, I don't know what Obama's done to reach out to the Muslim world, unless it's considered reaching out when you use a Predator drone and a Hellfire missile. And I certainly don't see, because Hillary Clinton was on TV one time with a red button in her hand, that indicates that we're trying to make strides to get along with the other major superpower, arguably, on the planet in Russia. But it doesn't stop Mitt Romney from selling his wares to the Virginia Military Academy and of course to the cameras that are focused on him and on his foreign policy message of peace through strength. And he says we need this. We need a stronger military. We need a stronger presence. And he cites the fact that inside the Middle East, namely inside of Libya, where our ambassador was just killed along with American citizens, this is one example of why we need to continue to expand, develop, and fund this military-industrial complex. He also quoted the Syria civil war that's breaking out, and of course the old standby, the threat of a nuclear weapon from Iran. But let's break each one of these down real quickly. We had our ambassador. It's unfortunate that a human being died, and it's unfortunate that that this had to occur, or that this did occur. But let's be real. Because if we'd have just not meddled in the affairs of a sovereign nation by providing a no-fly zone and leading a NATO-backed attack to topple, then murder an individual that was the leader of that nation, Muammar Gaddafi, our ambassador would be alive. The Americans that were butchered along with him, they'd be alive. We don't know how many Libyan nationals would be alive. Certainly in the thousands that wouldn't be cannon fodder at this point. And it isn't like we have some kind of moral soapbox that we can stand on when it comes to treatment of our citizens and when it comes to treatment of people around the world. As far as I am concerned, in my opinion, we violate civil rights of the people of our own country. You can be convicted by a Predator drone. You can be convicted in this nation by a traffic cam. You can lose your life because you're deemed a belligerent actor and as an American citizen. So Muammar Gaddafi, when he's honored as a integral partner in the war on terror, when trade relations are reinstated with this country, If we'd have left this same person that seems to be no better or no worse than any other dictator / elected official on this planet, well, then we wouldn't have a dead ambassador. We wouldn't have dead Americans in the streets of Libya. The war inside of Syria, there's absolutely no doubt that the same freedom fighters that were in Libya are now fighting in Syria, and Romney wants to give them heavy weapons so they can continue to destabilize that region. Again, I'm not an apologist for Muammar Gaddafi or Assad inside of Syria, but I am a realist, and I am a patriot to my country, and I don't want American blood and treasure being spent destabilizing these nations for fictitious, phony reasons. And the threat of a nuke out of Iran, every other week we get a report that they're a month away. The problem is we're going on 120 months of them being a month away. Iran develops a nuclear weapon. Pakistan has nuclear weapons. Israel, 300 miles away, has hundreds of nuclear weapons. If they made any move whatsoever, it would be within an hour that nation would be obliterated. But we're still going to use this as a propaganda tool to drive up the will to want to fight and wage another war. Well, we need to understand, America and West, NATO countries listening, this is being done in our name. This, even though the chances of being killed by a terrorist are 1 in 20 million, we are building enemies. We are building generations of enemies because of this slash and burn policy we have when it comes to sovereign nations around the world that do not want to play ball with the Western central banking cabal. We are building enemies, and would we not ourselves look to be throwing invaders out of our nation if that were the case? So Romney's rah-rah, beat the drums of war, we're going to expand the military-industrial complex. If it doesn't terrify you, then, man, you need to look in the mirror, and you need to realize when he's talking about expanding the military, he's talking about taking your kid, your child, your boy, your girl, and putting them in the way of an enemy whose nation we've invaded, who wants to kill this person more than anything in their life. And again, if the shoe was on the other foot, would we not feel the same way? When these people stand up and talk about spreading war, and they talk about spreading democracy, and they talk about human rights, that we're doing these all for the right things, it's one thing to buy this lie one time, but to buy it over and over and over again in a nation that is beyond broke, in a nation that is literally having to borrow money from the largest communist nation on the planet in order to fund this expansion of empire, it is time to wake up and realize that the republic is lost. It is lost. It doesn't stop Romney from dictating orders to the other NATO nations, saying if you are a member of NATO, you must, not should, not might, not could, you must shoulder the burden of this defense. Defense. You must produce 2% of your GDP in order to support this defense of freedom around the world. If you don't fall in line with American philosophy, then you will not have any kind of foreign aid from the United States. And he ends the whole statement with the ultimate scare tactic, as if we're all running around romper room, as if we're all running around 6-year-olds afraid of shadows, afraid of the dark. The world is a dangerous place populated by bad actors. And there's not a more true statement, in my opinion, has Mitt Romney ever uttered. The world is an incredibly dangerous place. And the world is populated. I shouldn't say populated. The world is controlled by bad actors. We have bad actors at every turn. From the financial system to our governance, this representative government that's been taken over, we have bad actors implementing plans of corporate elite, of corporate special interest, that has turned the world into this very, very dangerous place. This is the condition we are in this country. This is the condition of the planet. The best hope we have, I had a radio guest on tonight who holds out hope that we'll have a mass awakening, and I do as well. A peaceful mass awakening where people will realize the condition of the country, realize the trajectory we are on, and realize that it is them or their children that will stand and pay the piper, be it financially or be it facing a bullet in a foreign land or facing a bullet inside our very own country. I don't believe this is going to occur on a whim. I think it's going to occur after we have a meltdown, after we realize the economic depression we are in, and then offered a solution, many of which have been offered by these elites for years, and it all ends up being the exact same thing: global governance of one form or another. We need to understand where we are. We need to be able to pull apart the fluff that surrounds the reality that we live in. We need to disregard the propaganda. We need to listen to what their plays are, and we need to anticipate the next govern by crisis moment. Because one of these days, it won't be a bluff. They will govern by crisis until they get everything into position that they need in order to implement the tyrannical security state that they've imposed upon us, not just here but around the world. And then they will unleash the crisis of reality, and everybody will be awake. This is the time that we need to be united in knowledge, united in the fact that we know what brought us here, and we know who to hold accountable for it. Coming into November, we have this election. It literally is turned into divide and conquer, the likes of which I could not ever anticipated. We have a nation that is literally ready to rip itself apart, blaming the other guy for the condition we are in. But anybody who heard Mitt Romney today at this military academy should understand something. When he comes out and slams Barack Obama, he's slamming himself. He's slamming George W. Bush. He's slamming Bill Clinton. He's slamming George H.W. Bush. Because every one of these guys have grown the police state. They've grown the security and military-industrial complex. They've thrown us further and further into debt. If any of these people, red, blue, conservative, liberal, would have had a notion that they were going to turn this country around, then we wouldn't be on the exact same path we were on when the baton was handed off to the next spokesman for special corporate interest. Stories are attached. That's all I got.